Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sanctuary podcast. I'm your host, David Barrow from SteelSanctuary.com. And this is my co host, David Korup. Dave, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, brother?
As you can tell, English is my second language at this point. I can't even speak anymore. It's been a long weekend.
Been a long weekend, bro.
Uh, Very successful draft. I don't think we
Yes.
could have asked for anything better. We're going to give our grades for this thing in a few minutes. Just doing an overview. I mean, goddamn, three offensive linemen, a linebacker who has a chance to be really, really good, and they filled one of the wide receiver spots. I don't know what more you can ask for.
Right.
Universally, everyone's just loving this draft too. Like everybody online, like all the major sites are saying the Steelers did great. So PFF gave them an A+ for that
That's
draft,
pretty
believe it
good.
or not.
No, that's pretty good.
Omar cooking again. Um,
He is.
they seem to stick with some high character guys this time. All you hear about is how much these guys love football, this and that. You get the feeling that they're fed up with the me first guys. That maybe that's why they
Yeah.
traded Deontay Johnson for 50 cents on a dollar. Um, this draft certainly looks like they're fed up with those kind of guys.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that they're well, there's a couple things. One, they really do want to bully the shit out of people. And two,
Yes.
they're looking for leaders. They want leaders across the board.
Yep.
I think they're seeing how much of a big deal that does play. Um for a long time now, we've ignored character issues for talent. And you got splash here or there, but most of the time it ended up not working out. And I think they're definitely starting to understand that now, and they're starting to go a different route.
Yeah. You
Absolutely.
can you can sprinkle a guy once in a great while, but you can't load the team up like they seem to have been doing. More so during the Killer B era,
Right.
but they still haven't gotten away from it. Even you can even say George Pickens is still in that kind of pain in the ass mode. You know what I'm saying? Like
He is.
he's teetering on that going the wrong way. So
There's no way to get around it. He's a pain in the ass.
yeah,
Period.
so hopefully surrounding him with more of these guys will keep him in
Right.
check. Everyone says that Azani, the wide receivers coach, is a no bullshit guy, so maybe that'll help too. But another about this draft class, man, athletic talent, dude.
Yeah.
Almost everybody on this thing had a 9 RAS score, but only Zach
Right.
Frazier was 7.6, and Roman Wilson just missed at 8.5 now, and everybody else 9 or above. So athleticism is a big part of that thing too.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how much we can take going forward when we're trying to figure out their drafts from this. They were a little bit all over the board. We didn't see Fuatano coming at all. The one thing I'll say about that, Dave, the head coach of Alabama was the head coach at Washington last year. And they did go to Alabama, and Mike Tomlin did say he talked to that coach about Fuatano. So I don't know if that's a workaround when they figured, shit, the head coach isn't even in Washington, so why bother going there? We'll just talk to him at Bama. I don't know.
Did you see the video of Tomlin and the scout behind him
Yes, I was going to bring that up
say,
too.
yeah. Oh, sorry. If you
No, go
want
ahead. Go
to
ahead.
get, but
You're on it.
I
Go ahead.
just, I really thought that was interesting how he went 7 out of 20. It was like a bragging or something. It was just like, I'm sorry, I was on the Hulk Hogan where they spin the and you what the can I hear that one more? What was that?
Well,
So
obviously, he was the seventh guy on their board.
dude, I was like, wow, he threw it right out there with Tomlin on the phone with him. So we know now they had him seventh on their board and their top 20, and they got him at 20.
Yeah,
So
I
this
think they were
wasn't,
shocked he was there. I
yeah,
do.
this wasn't a, you know, yeah, we're gonna say that he was that. They just now got caught on video saying it.
Yeah, yeah,
This isn't
yep.
the, Mason Rudolph where we go, oh yeah, we had a top first round grade on him. No, this is actually actual footage of him accidentally, basically, what you say, hot mic, saying 7 out of 20.
Yeah, yeah,
So they that's what they had, and dude, he fell to 20, he fell right in their lap. So I just saw the video about 25 minutes before we got on
yeah,
here.
yep. I had a guy message me. Was it Thursday morning saying that tackle was definitely on their radar, and the top three guys on there that they thought they were going to get were Latham, Guyton, and Mims. And I think those probably were. but then they were just shocked that
Yeah.
Fuatanu fell, and they were like, "The hell with those guys. We'll take." And Mims was gone anyway, so
Right.
we won't know. But we don't know if Mims was 6 on their board or 8 on their board. But
Right. We don't know, and now we're never
Latham
gonna
went
know.
early too, right? Latham went like
He did. Real early.
real early.
Titans.
He was the first tackle, right?
Titans took him.
Yeah.
No, Alt
No.
was the first one.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. He was the second one. That's right. Alt was the first.
But he was high. Like Titans took him.
Mhm.
I want to say 8th or something like that.
It was top 10 for sure. For sure.
I have it right fucking here.
What
So
else?
it was. He went 7th.
7.
That's high. That's real high.
Higher than I thought. I wasn't sure he'd make it to the Steelers, but I didn't know he was going to be top 10.
Yeah.
Another thing about this draft class, a little older. The Steelers are kind of infamous for liking young guys.
Yeah.
These guys are already well into their 20s, which I don't have a problem with, honestly. I mean, when you think about it, if you get more than one contract out of these guys, that's bonus. Most draft picks don't even get more than one contract, so they end up getting hurt, or you just move on from them or whatever. So the age thing doesn't bother me as much. I like their philosophy. Leaders and athletes. It's perfect. What else can you what else can you ask?
Right. Yeah. No. Look, dude. I'm gonna give my draft grades, and some people might not like some of my grades, but don't think of it as it's purely me just nitpicking, to be honest.
Yeah.
And probably same with you. I'm just nitpicking. Overall, it was a great draft. Like again, back-to-back great drafts. But nitpicking, there's some things that maybe I would have rather seen, or I'm going to bring up when we do our grades. But overall, I thought it was a great draft. I'm very happy. I was day 2. I had a couple beers, and I was pretty happy about the Zach Frazier pick. And
I knew you would be.
And I told you I had a feeling for 2 or 3 days. Just there was just something about him and that 51st pick, and then that morning, every mock draft had him there at 51. I was like, what the hell happened? Like, why is he dropping? And now it's like every mock I did. Look, I went to every mock draft website there is, literally every single one of them. I think I was on about like 10 to 12 different sites, and every time 51 Frazier's there, 51 Frazier's there. And I was like, you know what? Okay. I think my, intuition of this is right. I think he's going to be there, and they're going to take him. You can't pass up. Top 2 center on the board, arguably.
Oh, you couldn't.
Right?
No, you cannot pass him up.
So
cannot.
They got him. I'm really happy. I was shocked by the guard pick, but love the pick. Like, love the pick. The guy. The individual, the player.
Yeah, when I wrote it up that morning, and I was looking at the guys left, and they had a few spots before they drafted, I had a feeling he was going to be the highest ranked guy on the board. He fell a little bit. That was the other thing.
That was the other thing. You were nailing these day 3 guys.
Yeah, I got a couple.
You were fucking nailing it, dude. I was like, damn, Dave did a whole article on this shit, and here we are. It was like the Steelers looked at your list and went down. Like, yep,
dude,
that guy. Yep, that guy.
I wanted that Penn State corner as the last pick so bad. That would have been 3 out of 4 for that day, but they went with Ryan Watts instead. But that's all right. It's just the Mason McCormick one I really felt good about in the 4th round. I just felt like they're all in on this, being physical, being this and that, and knowing James Daniels is a free agent at the end of the season made it even more likely. So he's a good player. Again, I mean, we'll give our grades, but he was 9.96 on the RAS. I mean, Jesus Christ, you can't ask for much more than that. What else do we got before we actually start doing our grades? I guess we should spend a few minutes on the injury thing, and we'll get deeper into it in the draft. But this is definitely a departure from Kevin Colbert style drafting and free agent signing.
Yeah, and look, I'm pretty sure I have it still. I have a whole big thing on the history on Peyton Wilson. So you're going to want me to read that. That is quite something.
Yeah. I mean, Ian Rappaport was not our friend during this thing, was he? Because when they drafted Fuatano, he told us, he's got a knee and he's got a Lisfranc that's not settled, and then blah, blah. And okay, fine. No big deal. And then when they drafted Peyton Wilson, we knew it was bad, but I don't think anybody knew he was playing without an ACL. That was shocking. Like,
Yeah.
and I guess people have done it. I didn't realize that they said Greg Lloyd and Hines Ward played without. So that's
Yeah.
news to me. I had no idea you could even function without an ACL.
Right.
So
I had no idea. I was like, that's a thing. You could just run around with no ACL. Okay.
um, I'm not going to criticize the Steelers for taking these shots because I've criticized them in the past for not gambling a little bit. I just worry that they're gambling a little too much, that too many of these guys have injury histories now. Um, they could get lucky. And Peyton Wilson could end up being, if he stays healthy, he's going to be very good. There's no doubt about it. It's just, Jesus Christ, you got him. You took Holcomb with kind of an injury history last year. You took Trice. Those kind of blew up in your face. Washington didn't. He played the whole season, but people have said he's only going to make it through one contract himself. And now in this draft, Witanu had a little bit of something going on, and now Peyton Wilson he takes the cake. You want to give the whole thing now?
You want to do the grades, you mean?
No. Do you want to give his injury thing, or do you want to wait till you give the grades?
We'll do the grades.
All right,
we'll do the grades because I like to do the good with the bad.
Okay, we'll wait. We'll hold off.
But real quick, we got on YouTube here. We got NSMC99. How's it going overall? I'm pleased with what the Steelers put together in this draft. I still think we could find another corner or wide receiver in free agency, but I feel confident otherwise. Tanner Myers put, "Do you guys like Roman Wilson?" Tune in to find out. And then NSMC99 also put, "I keep hearing Hines work comparisons with Roman Wilson. If he is anything similar to Hines, he should fit in well here." So, yeah, let's just get into our grades. If you want to go first, go ahead. Or do you want to do the draft bash thing now, or do you want to wait? It's up to you.
We'll announce the draft bash thing at the end.
Okay. Okay.
One last thing before we get to the thing. Wide receiver coming. What do you think? They're going to sign somebody that, remember, they made that cap space. Did we talk about the cap space thing before?
I don't think
it's been crazy. This is like a third or fourth pod this week. So
they made the cap space. I was really excited. I thought it was imminent. They were about to make the move for
restructured Highsmith,
Sutton or Aiyuk, because if you look on paper, they can afford both now. Now, mind you, if you do, I think it's Sutton right now currently is more. It's like 17 million. Now, mind you, that takes them almost all the way up.
Yeah.
So that technically isn't quite feasible. Even the 14 mil that Aiyuk is scheduled to make right now is kind of a lot for them because they still need that end of, that money for the draft. And then they like to keep a little bit left over. But the con man, I have no doubt that he'll restructure something and make it work.
It was reported that they had talks with San Francisco about Deebo Samuel and then balked. It was too high a price. And it was also reported that they talked to Denver about Cortland Sutton and didn't end up pulling the trigger. So they're definitely fishing for a wide receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if one comes fairly soon.
Yeah, there ain't no doubt. They're still looking, and I think they're going to pull the trigger on something.
I think it's too much smoke now. They're going to do it.
Right. I think they know that they're one wide receiver away from them being probably what puts them over, Dave.
Yeah.
When I was looking at the new list of like 20 new players added to the roster this season, draft picks and free agency. And I'm looking and looking and looking, and I'm just like, man, if they could just nail that other wide receiver. And it's no offense to Roman Wilson, but I mean, you're a rookie.
And he's going to play slot more than likely.
Right.
So they still need an outside guy.
And we got to that. But, just in general, that's not a guy where I'm going, ooh, that's the guy that puts us over the top offensively. It's an Aiyuk. It's a Sutton. It's it's Deebo Samuel. It's those kind of caliber wide receivers. I mean, I'm at a point now where I saw something where Boyd didn't get the 9 mil per or 10 mil per he was looking for.
I think Boyd would be disappointed.
I don't even know at this point if he would put them over. I mean, if you think about what he brings to the table and what he's done already in his career, this was more of a number 3 guy, right? Could he be a number 2? We don't know. But the production's not there. I mean, you've got a whole defense worried about, Chase and T. Higgins, and you didn't produce heavily and take advantage of that.
Well, there's the other argument that's, there's not enough balls to go around and they're going to get their share and maybe he's got to just take the scraps after that.
Yeah, but we've had guys be number 3 guys and dominate. I remember Daniel Brown when he first got here as a rookie. He was the number 3 guy. He wasn't the number 1. and he
Yeah.
made huge impact right off the rip. I'm not comparing the two because you can't. One's way better than the other. But either way, I don't think he satisfies the number 2 position. I just don't.
Debo Samuel would be great. I just hope they don't give up too much for him because I don't think you're getting a season or two out of him, max at elite, level. He plays a physical style. He's not
And
a
he's
big
injured.
guy.
He's injured a
Yeah,
lot.
he gets beat up. That's the style of
So
play. He plays like a
the
running back. So
so you'd think the price would not be as bad, but apparently not.
hopefully,
But
all
and
right.
that's the other thing too. It's not even just the Steelers freeing up some calories. Look how many wide receivers they drafted. The 49ers.
49ers, yeah, they
And
traded up to
high.
get
They high,
Pearsall.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like it's not even a fact of whether it's what the Steelers do. It's a matter of fact of how much the 49ers made moves to get all these wide receivers as backup. It's like, yeah, they're sending somebody somewhere. Yeah.
Yep. I agree. All right, let's get to our draft grades. We'll go one at a time. Let's start with Troy Fuatanu. My man had a 9.62 RAS score. He's 6'3". He's a little smaller we've talked about that for a tackle, but everyone I read right now, and I admittedly I didn't do a lot of work on him going to the draft because I didn't think he'd be there. Everyone raves about him. So I'm gonna defer to them for now. And I'm gonna give this an A. I don't see the downside unless the injury thing really crops up. Other than that, it looks like he's willing to play right tackle. That gets you to move Broderick to left. It's win-win all the way around. I give it an A.
Okay. I gave it an A as well. The film looks great. He is a beast that plays with an aggression, man. He just goes out there looking to hurt someone. And I love it. He shows great leadership. His skills are pretty good in that department. He won the John P. Angel Award. It's an award at the Huskies every year at the Huskies banquet for leadership. Named All Pac-12 first team 2 years straight. There are some medical issues though, so I'm a little bit worried about that. I guess the knee's not an issue, but there's a Lisfranc thing. I'm hoping that we're past that. So as long as we're past that, then we're good with this. I'm tickled pink with the pick. I'm so glad he fell. I just hope medically he is good to go. Some guys though that they did not pick and said they went with him was your top corners on the board, like Arnold and Mitchell. Yeah. Like that was only one thing I'm kind of like, will we look back on and be like, son of a bitch? Like, why the hell didn't they, go after the top corner? Now, again, hindsight's 2020, but just in general, I do wonder if we'll go back and be like, you literally had the top corner in the draft fall to you, and you chose not to take him. You took a chance on a guy with medicals. Does this come back and bite you in the fucking ass? And I hope it doesn't. But I mean, when you look at the film and great leadership, I just it's a home run for me if he's good to go.
Quinyon Mitchell's the one guy I think we'll look back on, and if Fuatano plays well, we're not going to look back. If he stays healthy and plays well, they need a tackle. It's a no-brainer. But if he struggles, I think Quinyon Mitchell's going to be special, and that one might be one that we look back on and say, "Shit, we could have had Quinyon Mitchell and JPJ for 10 years."
Right.
Still, though, we both gave it an A. Zach Frazier, I'll let you go first on this one. That's your boy.
Absolutely. I gave this an A+ grade. Okay, A+ across the board.
A little West Virginia vibe there.
Look. They finally did it. We drafted a guy that's played center his whole collegiate career. Finally, we get the guy, and we didn't have to trade up for him. And just the things about him is the accolades too. Like, look, first off, he's a state champion wrestler. Okay.
Yeah.
So my man is going to be really good with body leveraging and stuff like that when you want to get into blocking and stuff like that. He is an All-American in 2023, 3-time All Big 12 Conference first team, 3-time team captain. What else? Iron Mountaineer Award. Dude, this is another one that was a no-brainer at 51. They needed a center. We all know it. They actually got one that they didn't have to give up anything for. It couldn't have went any better for them. And now, mind you, now look, I can also go back and look. They passed on Adonai Mitchell, Maliki Corley, Jermaine Burton, a lot of really good wide receivers.
Yeah.
So you, again, will look back and hope, hey, they screwed up here. you know, maybe they went the wrong route. Maybe they should have got that wide receiver the second round. A lot of us thought that. I told you for days I thought it'd be he was the pick, but there was a part of me that went, they might go wide receiver. They need to nail a top end wide receiver for that number 2 spot, but they didn't do it. They went in the trenches again and got their starting center.
I won't criticize them for passing on anybody else on this one. They had to do this. We talked about it. We've been talking about this since the day the season ended. They needed a true center. We've been dealing with this crap, for years now between, right. I'm not going to bring up Kendrick Green and Mason Cole, and even the end of Pouncey's career wasn't very good. This is a no-brainer. This is an A for me. I won't quite go A+, but I'll give you an A. The only other scenario I could have thought different was they go center in the first round with Graham Barton and then try to get a tackle. This kind of worked out better because Fuatanu fell right into the laps. And how many times did we talk about, Dave? Would Zach Frazier make it to 51? Do they have to trade up? Are they going to have to settle for Van Pran? Right. He just fell into their laps, and it worked out great. I mean, this is middle of second round. They got maybe not, a 9-time Pro Bowl center, but they got a solid center, and I'm sure he'll be around for a while. They couldn't possibly pass on Zach Frazier at 51. They couldn't have done it.
Right. They needed to get serious at the position.
Yeah.
Quit fucking around. Quit waiting to the 4th round to draft a guy that hardly ever played the position and go, yep, that's our center. Yeah, quit doing that shit. Yeah. Go get a guy that's a proven guy at 100%. That position. What I say, subject matter expert at that position, right? That's what they need. That's what they went and got. I mean, you got guys like Doran Dickerson who are, Pitt alumni are going, son of a bitch. I think they may have gotten a West Virginia guy to be their guy for the next 10 years. Like, that's pretty good to see somebody do that, to say that. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy. And I really think it's going to work out well for them.
Brooke Pryor had a good joke. I don't know if you caught it on Twitter. They said, so this is why they had to get rid of Kenny Pickett, because there was no way a West Virginia center was going to snap to a Pitt quarterback. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, let's move on to round 3. Roman Wilson, wide receiver from Michigan. I'll start off with this one. I like it. Good. I mean, it's second tier wide receiver, but something had to give. If you're going to fill 2 line spots, you weren't going to get a first tier wide receiver. I still think, like we talked about earlier, they're cooking on something for wide receiver in a trade. Mm-hmm. So I'm not worried about it. Roman Wilson, 4.3 speed, tough guy, which is good. He's not afraid to block in that Michigan offense. And that's something you got to think about too. Michigan did not throw the ball a lot. That's why J.J. McCarthy, nobody could figure out, where he really fell in this thing.
Right.
I think Roman Wilson can prove out to be a lot better than advertised, just coming out of that Michigan offense, which was, might not be much different from the Pittsburgh offense, but we'll wait and see about that. But
it's going to fit right in.
I give this one a B+. He was definitely I can't remember if I wanted anybody beside. I think he was the best wide receiver on the board at that point.
Maybe.
No, you got names that were there.
Not a lot. I mean, like I said, like you said, they had to go get somebody by then. But all right, I'll just get into mine. Look, he's a wide receiver, speed, and he will block. Like I saw the film of him like ferociously going and blocking people and knocking them on their ass, which was really great to see. But my man is a 4.3 guy. They said on the thing you're in a 4.39 or 4.38 40.
4.39.
So you got a fast guy who's willing to block. So that's good stuff. He's a little smaller, 5'11". I think he was under 100.
5'10", 185. I was just looking
at it. Little smaller. Really good route runner, they said, though. I was looking up the stuff, and they said that he's a really good route runner. So I think that what you're looking at here is almost like a poor man's Deontay Johnson, maybe at best. I think that's his ceiling.
He's different than Deontay. He's tougher than Deontay.
Oh, no, I don't mean that. I meant route running. I meant the route runner. Yeah. They say he's an excellent route runner. So I'm saying that the ceiling with him could be like a DJ where he's a great route runner and it's really hard to be covered. That's the best case scenario. I'm not crowning him some great, wide receiver.
I think he can be better than Deontay.
Oh, wow. You think he could be better than Deontay?
He's got a better attitude. He's tougher. He's faster than Deontay was.
He may be more likable.
Deontay didn't really reach his potential. I mean, if you're just talking about skills, Deontay Johnson's the best route runner maybe in the league.
Right.
But attitude and everything else. Did you see the thing? He didn't even know who his head coach was. He went to dinner with the head coach from Carolina, and he didn't even know the guy was the head coach. That's the stuff that,
why you'd put that out there? I wouldn't even That's
the stuff that drives you nuts about DJ.
Hey, he's their problem now.
Yeah, absolutely.
they did pass on a bigger wide receiver in Jalen McMillan. Um,
Yeah, I'm okay
so
with that.
right, like he's a bigger wide receiver, but apples to oranges. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
don't know whether that would
yeah,
be, but that's really it. Defensive lineman McKinley Jackson was passed on. Safety Tyke Smith. Just
yeah.
some other positions that maybe they could have went after if they wanted to go different routes. I don't hate the pick. Like they had to go get a wide receiver. He might end up being a great pick. But obviously he's not a Persall and all those other guys that went ahead
Yeah,
of him.
yeah.
So it's a B grade for me too.
B. All right, I
Yeah.
give it a B plus. All right, moving on to Peyton Wilson. This is the controversial one. This is one. I'll let you go first on this one. What do you think about Peyton
All
Wilson?
right. So awesome vision, tackles with a force. He's got hands and great coverage skills. He was top 2 in the nation in coverage.
Yeah, I did hear that.
That's
Yep.
really good. He won the Chuck Bernard Award. He won the Buckus Award. He won unanimous All American, AC Defensive Player of the Year, first team All ACC. The only reason why I'm not giving this an A+ grade is the medicals. And look, I got a whole article that somebody wrote, and it's nuts. Check this out. So right off the bat, trying to find it. His first injury was 2015. He had an injury. He hurt his laceration, had a cyst that had to be repaired. So that was in 2015. 2017, let's see. He had an anterior crucial ligament in his right knee. He tore it right off the bat in 2017. 2018, what else did he have? He re-aggravated another knee injury. And then it was a recurrent ACL tear. 2019, he hurt his shoulder. Yeah, he busted his shoulder, so he had a bad shoulder too. I mean, 2020, another one, left and right shoulder dislocations.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on. 2021, a significant left shoulder injury. Dude, 2022, 23 was like the only year where he didn't have an injury. Literally. So it's the only reason why, Dave, I don't give it an A+. He's got all the awards, the accolades. You see the tape. I mean, the guy's amazing, but holy shit, is this guy going to make it?
Yeah, he's a top 15 pick if doesn't have these injuries, dude. He's
Right.
that talented. He ran. What did he run? He ran like a 4.40, right? Let me pull him up real quick. I got it right.
I think it was like a 4.43. But I
4.4340.
Yeah, dude. I love the guy. I love the pick. I love the kid. I think it's a great pick. It is the steal of the draft if
he stays healthy.
None of this stuff affects him and he's healthy. It's the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
But it's the reason why I don't put A+. I'd put A++ if it wasn't the medical stuff. But there's a shit ton of medical history. But this is the new Steelers. They do not care about
Steelers,
any of this stuff, and they'll take a chance, man. They'll take a shot. Yeah. So
I tweeted right after this pick. I said the Steelers do not give a fuck about injuries. They just
no, I don't.
That's Kevin Colbert must have had a seizure after this one. Because he was so risk averse when it came to injuries that he must have been shaken. It's funny. One of the guys on Twitter that I talked to a lot, he kept bringing up Peyton Wilson. I'm like, dude, they're not drafting Peyton Wilson. He's too injury prone. I listed all the injuries to him. He's like, I don't care. That's it. He was right. What did you end up giving him for a grade for this?
I gave him an A.
An A. I'm going to go B+ on this.
Okay.
This late in the third round to get a player like this, it's worth the risk. 100%. It's worth the risk. Is it going to work out? We'll see. I mean, they signed Patrick Queen to big money, so that the need isn't really there either. I mean, are they going to play him and Queen together? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, I think this is the backup plan if Holcomb's not.
Yeah, it's definitely a depth.
This was definitely a backup plan if Holcomb can't go. There's no doubt in my mind.
And there is a world where this goes completely off the rails, and they're going back to picking up linebackers off the street because he could get hurt easily, and Holcomb could not come back, and they're right back at square one again.
Right.
So, they have Queen, so that's good. But man, that's a little risky. But again, he's a better athlete than even any linebacker the Steelers have drafted since what? Shazier. Shazier, I'm having a brain fart there. Shazier, and this guy, he's better than Devin Bush, who they drafted what 10th overall. He's a better athlete than Devin Bush.
Well, we'll see. He should be.
Um, yeah, if he's healthy. But
I read the accolades. The kid's
crazy.
Top,
He's
top of the linebacker group.
Yeah,
and,
he's a top 15 pick if he's healthy.
So,
there's no doubt about it.
Man, I hope the guy kid can stay healthy. I really do. I feel bad that the kid dropped as far as he did with that much talent. Shit, I feel bad.
Some people were saying he's going in the second round. I saw people saying he's going in the second round.
I wouldn't have been surprised because he didn't show like in 2023 he didn't have any issues and he was top. He was worldly, the best. So yeah, but man, we'll see.
All right, I gave it a B plus. You gave it an A. Next up is Mason McCormick. Man, to get a guy like this in the 4th round, another captain. You're gonna hear a lot about. There's a lot of captains they drafted. They have a very clear path to what they want in their football players now, and it's captains of the team. Leaders, like you said earlier. 996 RAS scored. It's just
it's really fucking good.
Guy did good. I mean, he's a small school, South Dakota State, so that you have to keep that in mind. But it would not surprise me at all if he's a starting guard in 2025. Mm-hmm. It would not surprise me at all if they've got this young core offensive line. It's amazing. Another guy. I don't know what Omar Khan uses as a lucky charm, but I want to steal it because man, these things just fall into his lap consistently. Yeah. It happened last draft when Joey Porter Jr. just fell to 32.
Yep.
And it's happening again. It's just kudos to him. It's this one's a no-brainer. This is another A for me.
Okay.
4th round to get a guy like this, solid A.
Okay. For me, look, he's an absolute mauler. Always getting to that second level, looking for a target. Another great leadership guy. All-American honors, All Missouri Valley Football Conference honors for 4 times in a row. What else? Missouri Valley Conference Offensive Lineman of the Week honors in a win over North Dakota. He is described as the meanest yet nicest player around. Look, the only reason why I'm going to give this a B grade, okay? And the only reason why I'm doing it, and this is like I said, we talked about this earlier. I said nitpicking. I'm only nitpicking for the fact that there were corners out there that could be impactful. They could have gotten. TJ Tampa fell. Cam Hart was there. Abrams Drain fell. Yep. He was there. Cornerback Brownlee Jr. was there. All these guys are possible impact guys that could have helped them at corner if you needed to go get another one. Safety Jaden Hicks was there. Safety Katan Olopata was there. Defensive end Austin Booker was there. These are all, you could argue, needs that they could have went and got that could have been impactful for them. And instead, they went and got a guy that probably isn't going to start to 2025. But now, don't get me wrong. Love the kid. I like the pick. I just hope that we're good to go at corner. We're good to go, D-line. But they went later in the draft and got one. But as far as talent goes and value goes, draft value, there were some other routes they could have went that I may have liked better. I was off guard with this. I did do a mock with you one time where I had them taking a guard for the fact I thought they might think about doing this for the future, but I didn't really at the end here didn't see it happen. I just didn't.
2 things we now know after this draft. Pat Pete's coming back.
Yeah, probably.
He might be your starting slot corner at this point, or at the very least a depth guy because they have no depth with any experience. It's Darius. We've talked about it before. Darius Rush and Trice, who's coming off an injury. That Pat Pete's coming back. And second, Mike Tomlin loves Dante Jackson, loves him, and has 100% confidence that he's going to be corner number 2 and be good. Let's hope he's right because I don't know. And maybe the board fell in the first couple rounds where they couldn't get the corner they wanted. So, well, actually, I shouldn't say that because the number 1 corner in the draft pretty much was on the board when they picked Fuatanu. So they obviously could have if they wanted to. Yeah, they're comfortable for whatever reason in the secondary. I'm not as confident as they are, but they didn't prioritize corner because as we go through these last couple, well, they took a corner in the 6th round, but at that point, like you said, before Peyton Wilson, before McCormick, even before Roman Wilson, they could have taken a corner, but they decided not to. So yeah, it's going to be help us all, Pat Pete for another year.
And that's my thing. It's like draft pick or Pat Pete. I don't know how I feel about that one.
Maybe we get lucky and Corey Trice stays healthy and turns into the guy they thought he was going to be, and then we don't have to worry about
Well,
this
I'm
stuff.
hoping that's what it is, Dave.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that
me
Trice
too.
is healthy and
Me
looks
too.
great, and they're like, "Oh, we're good to go." I'm hoping, right?
He's like the
But
Peyton Wilson of this draft. He
he
would have
is.
gone second, third round if it wasn't for injury concerns.
You're right.
So, and that's a cautionary tale.
It is.
He went so late because he is injury prone and he got injured. So there's always that.
They're gonna live and die by this sword.
Yeah.
You're either
Yeah.
gonna be you're really gonna get a hit on some draft value here, or you ain't gonna get to use them for 2 years. So
And again, I'm going to say it again. I can't fault him on it because I've always wanted him to do it.
yeah, me too.
Let's just hope they're not going to that well too often.
Right.
All right, next guy up, Logan Lee is another guy I thought the Steelers might be interested in. 9.20 RAS score. Has the height, 6'5", but he's 281 at the combine. He weighed in at and shorter arms, so I was like, is this a Steeler guy? Is it not a Steeler guy? But they like the athleticism. They had him in for a visit, which is another big thing I thought indicator they might like him. I haven't watched too much of him. There's not a lot of tape out. He didn't play a lot of games. 6th round, I think it's worth a gamble. So I'm going to give them a B plus on this one. You know, you gamble on athleticism, right? You take the best athlete late in the draft, and maybe he figures it out. Maybe you coach him up. You know, if I were DeMarvin Leal, I wouldn't be sleeping too good because they are pretty similar guys, and he's had 2 years to prove himself and hasn't done it. So they might just say, "Fuck it, we're going to go with Logan Lee, see if he can do it."
Yeah. For me, it's a high motor guy with 28 QB pressures last season, high RAS score, as you mentioned. Honorable mention, All Pro or All Big Ten. What else? He won the Phil Steele third team All Big Ten award, preseason second team All Big Ten, and he won the Hayden Fry Extra Heartbeat award. Yeah, the dude just goes and goes and goes. He doesn't take a playoff, nothing like that. The only reason I'm going to give a C, and the reason why I give it a C, is because they did have some higher ranking defensive linemen still on the board. Mekhi Wango was still on the board, who was a projected 4th rounder that fell to 6th round. It was like, man, go run and get this guy. This guy played at LSU for God's sakes. Like, you know. And then who else? Christian Boyd, who they had in for a visit.
Yeah.
I thought for sure they were going to go get him, but both these guys were ranked higher than Logan Lee. So I was a little surprised by that. Oh, and here is the other one too. Cornerback DJ James was still there, who some had high on their board. It fell. So there's another corner they passed on, Dave. But me, the one I was really mad about, and you can probably guess this, was Johnny Wilson. You know, 6'6", 220-pound wide receiver that runs like a deer. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this guy fell, and you can have for a 6th rounder and double dip at that wide receiver. You get a guy basically the opposite of what Roman Wilson is. So now you really got potential here to have possibly a steal, but it didn't happen. Malik Washington was still available too. Another, and these are high productive guys. They were produced. Malik Washington, I think, had like 1,300 yards and like 9 touchdowns this past season. So like,
it makes you think that they're going to go out and get a wide receiver. And once they got Roman Wilson, they were like, "We're good on wide receiver. We're going to go on other positions."
It's a hell of a gamble. I just man, I mean, that's the only reason why I gave a C grade, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, all these people are still here. Like, pull the trigger, get one of these guys, and they didn't do it. So it's like, son of a bitch. And then I'm like, Logan Lee. I'm like, really? Out of all of them, that's the guy? And then I saw your thing. I was like, wow, David Nelson.
He's the best athlete of the bunch.
Yeah,
I think that's what they went with.
When I saw the RAS score, I was like, that's probably why. They probably were like, oh, okay, high athleticism, got a high motor. When you got a high motor like that, you can't teach that. Guys either, have that kind of high motor, motivation, or they don't really. So I think they can coach them up. Maybe they'll have something here. We'll see.
All right, last on the list is Ryan Watts out of Texas. I didn't see this one coming any which shape or form. I don't think they met with him at all. He wasn't a combine interview. He didn't come in for a visit. So this one, I don't know where they got him from. Good size, 6'2", jumped well, ran 4.53. People say he's going to be a safety. He's a good tackler, so I think you might see him as a safety. Special teams guy this late in the draft. He's probably going to be a key guy. I don't mind this one. I gave it a B too. I didn't give any low grades. I thought at this late in the draft, you get a guy with this size and this kind of athletic ability. Why the hell not?
Um, I give a C. Look, he
Oh,
fits the
Dave, you're a
bill.
hot grader this time.
I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying not to be, uber, just everything's an A. I'm trying not to be that. He fits the bill Steelers want. They want the big, tall,
Mhm.
guys, long arms, fast, 9.12 RAS score.
Yep.
But look, my guy did not do well this season. Do you know he had a QB rating when target of 125.2%? That
Hence
is
the 6th round pick.
really bad. Like, holy shit, that's bad. And I think it was like 82% the year before that. So my guy got worse
Yeah.
by a lot. And but the thing about it is that he is a very aggressive tackler with good hands. So my thing is he definitely fits that special teams thing. If he's an aggressive tackler, he's fast, he's athletic, then okay, you grab him. Now look, he does have a couple accolades. He was 2023 academic All Big 12 first team, so the kid's really smart. What else? 2022 is like the Associated Press third team All American, Butkus Awards semifinalist, and first team All Big 12. But they did pass on guys like MJ Devonshire, Pitt guy, right in their backyard. They passed on Kalen King, another one, right in their backyard. Trey Taylor, safety out of the Air Force. Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son, was still there. Um, I think he's gonna be. He could end up being a good special teams guy, but like, again, it drives me crazy when there's guys with great draft value that fell and they don't pluck one of them.
NSMMC on YouTube got a funny one. He said they saw Watt in his last name and they went crazy and took him. They pulled the trigger.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
maybe.
a good one. I like
You
that.
never know.
Yeah, I think that this guy's going to be a safety. He's not going to play corner, and he's going to be like a core special teamer. And if that works out in the 6th round, no, why not? And he's a better athlete than a lot of those guys that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Again, I hate to keep harping on the RAS score, but it seems to be high on their list of conditions to draft somebody. So yeah, I don't hate this pick. I didn't see it coming for anywhere, but again, I like it.
Yeah.
And
I,
overall
I
draft, what do you got for an overall draft score?
overall draft, I'm still gonna go A
Yeah, me too. I can't
because
see.
I'm
It's
nitpicking.
early,
Like the
but
stuff I'm bitching about, I'm really nitpicking. It's not like you can't really be like, wow, this is it ain't like they took a UDFA in the 4th round or something. This isn't none of that. There's nothing. There's
no,
nothing.
you
This is a
can't.
draft where you didn't see a guy that was projected 4th and they took him in the 2nd round, or a guy projected 3rd, they took him in the 1st. There was none of that. It was the other way around. I'm nitpicking that guys fell and they didn't grab him. When I'm bitching that you didn't pick a guy that fell, that's a sign that your draft probably was a better
Yeah.
draft. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's good. The draft fell they got lucky as shit. Let's be honest at how this draft fell
I
in the
hesitate to
beginning.
say that because I give Omar Khan shit sometimes, but man, this draft couldn't. And this is 2 years in a row, really. Honestly, that
Yeah,
the draft has kind of fallen for them pretty well. I mean, they traded up for Broderick Jones. They didn't sit and wait for him, so you give them kudos for that.
yeah, they
But
made
then
their
all the
luck with
other,
that one.
yeah, and Zach Frazier last in the 51
Right.
is a
And
bit lucky.
I like Omar Khan. I think he's doing really good. So, but I'm going to be fair. Like, who the fuck knew that he was going to fall to 51? I mean, tell you, I had a premonition about it, but I that happens a lot with people, and that shit's nothing really happens. But I just couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. He fell that far. You think back. I mean, this is before the whole Graham Barton thing. Really, Graham Barton wasn't even heard of yet a couple months ago as a possible center guy. It was JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson, and Frazier. That was it.
Frazier, that's it. Yeah.
That was it. So when you're thinking in your head, there's only 2 good centers on the board. There ain't no way he's making it to 51. But we got lucky. The whole 14 straight offensive picks and 6 of them being quarterbacks,
6 quarterbacks
shaped this whole thing for the Steelers, because then it backloaded the 1st round with defensive players and pushed that second tier of offensive players into the 2nd round.
It's a good point, Dave.
Everybody And everybody started tweaking, going, "Oh my God, we got to grab these wide receivers right now." And that's why at the very end of the first and the very beginning of the second, all the wide receivers went, and it just somehow pushed Frazier down the board even further. And it was it was just fate, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it forever. If Zach Frazier's not there, then what? Did they you said AD Mitchell was still on the board, right? At that point. So you get AD Mitchell, fine, who dropped like a stone. I don't know what happened. There's something medically. I know he had diabetes and people were concerned about that, but for him to drop that far was crazy.
Johnny Wilson must have murdered someone because I don't like. Wow. Anyway,
and then you're playing that game with Van Pran in the third round again. And I think Van Pran ended up falling pretty far, so they would have gotten Van Pran.
He did end up falling really far. Was it the fourth or fifth round?
Yeah, he fell.
He fell. I bet his party's pretty pissed. Like, what the hell?
So that told you what the NFL thought of Van Pran. So if they were stuck, you wouldn't feel as good about this draft. No. And this team going forward, if Van Pran was your starting center in 2025, the difference between Frazier and Van Pran is pretty steep. And thankfully he lasted to 51 because it's a whole different story if we don't get Frazier.
And Darth Sniper Mike M is back. We took the 6th, 7th best tackle over the best corner in the nation. He better pan out. See, that's why I brought it up. Man, if something happens, Fautanu is not that good. Whoo, we are gonna go back and look at this like, man.
I don't think Fautanu was the 6th or 7th center, left tackle.
I think he's going off of drafting. Wasn't he like the 6th one drafted in order? Was he the 6th drafted?
Probably.
I actually can bring it up. I got the first round here.
It was Latham, Mims.
Latham, Fashanu, Fuaga, Mims, and he was the 6th.
He was the 6th one.
So he's saying the 6th draft.
I get it.
So,
and that has to make you wonder too, because I mean, he's right. There was six tackles taken before Fautanu. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't really pay that much attention to that until we brought
Darth
it up.
Sniper, if you're still listening, the Steelers had him ranked 7th on their top 20 board. There's a video out, and you hear the guy say it behind Tomlin, a scout. So they had him pretty high. So we'll see.
And we don't know if it's irrelevant, but if Mims was ahead of him on their board or not, because he was gone. But Mims was when we went on after the first round and talked about it, I was still a little disappointed that Mims got taken. I really wanted him to get Mims because his upside, I think, is a little better than Fautanu's. But that's a guessing game too, because he's only played, what do we say, 8 games his entire college career. So
you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's more on hype with him, like
it's
what he can be off his physical ability. Yep.
Yeah.
Off his physical traits of what he can be, and and what the film does show, but it's such small bit of film. Like there's not a lot there to really. So, but yeah, don't get me wrong. I'd have loved to pick. Like I'd be fine with them taking Mims, but he was gone. But they got Fautanu, and hey, thank you everyone that passed on him, because if they had him 7 out of 20, that's pretty good. They got him at 20.
And again, like we said on the top, a lot of people have been raving about him. I know John Ledger is a pretty good evaluator. He loved him. A couple other people I've heard really, really love Fautanu and thought it was a steal. So we'll see. Like Rappaport said, maybe it was the injury thing that made him drop, and those other guys had clean bills of health. I don't know. For now, I'm going to choose to be excited about this until I see otherwise.
Yeah,
he's a Steelers fan his whole career. He's super excited to be on the team, and he's willing to play right tackle. He said he can play any position. You know, Washington, I guess, made them practice at all different positions, so he's familiar with it. We get Broderick Jones to left tackle, which we've been dying for. That's the other interesting thing. How long is it going to take for this to occur before Mike Tomlin actually benches, more and makes this right? We'll have to wait and see on that.
Right.
Any other thoughts on this draft? I should mention the undrafted free agents, and maybe we'll go over this a little deeper in our next pod after we do a little research on these guys. They signed Beanie Bishop, cornerback out of Yor, West Virginia. Dejon Edwards, who had a pretty good career as a running back in Georgia, pretty good running back. John Reese Plumley, who is a quarterback who also played wide receiver.
Yeah,
so
I saw him.
Julius Welchoff, defensive lineman. I heard something about him. I got to go back and read more about him. And Jacoby Wyndham, another linebacker out of Michigan State. Those are the five.
He's got pretty good. He had a pretty good season too.
Wyndham.
Yeah, Michigan guy.
Yeah,
Michigan State guy. Yeah, I think it was him. I saw. He had a pretty good 2023 season.
Yeah,
they had some guys that actually had some pretty good 2023 seasons.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, again, this is back-to-back seeming home runs for Omar Khan and Andy Weidel and company. We'll see. We gotta let the season play out. But right now, I see a lot of Steelers fans like getting their tickets for the Super Bowl. It's like pump the brakes a little bit. Let's let this play out. I mean,
there's still another wide receiver. Wait, I'm sorry.
At least and a slot. They still don't have a slot corner, man.
Corner. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I
still don't have one of those. They've plugged everything else up. They got the center. They got their tackle.
I'm praying that Corey Trice, I mean, we haven't even brought up the fact that they had talks with Cam Sutton.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's interesting.
Yeah, that's really
because that came out. I saw the tweet on Saturday morning that Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin had met with Cam Sutton. I'm like, what are they doing? Are they are they like just showing support for him? Are they trying to because I'm assuming this guy's going to jail,
dude.
But then I read further. They're meeting with him to sign him.
How do we go from this guy choke slammed his girlfriend through a 3-story window to he's on the lam on the run from the cops, he's missing, to he's arrested for crazy stuff, you're thinking this guy's going to jail for a while, to it's dropped down to a lower, whatever you want to call it, and now the Steelers are talking to him about coming back? Like, what in the fuck? Like, this is crazy. But and it's so hard for me because I'm so caught between a rock and a hard place because I'm like, this guy's a piece of shit, possibly. real piece of shit. Like, if my dude choke slammed his girlfriend / wife, whatever, through a 3-story window, he deserves to get thrown out of a 3-story window. But if all that was a great exaggeration, then it's like there's the other side of me. It's like, my God, would just fix problems. You plug him into the slot. He's so good in the slot.
Yes.
Holy shit, Dave.
Let me, Dave, if they get Cam Sutton and pick your wide receiver, Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, I'll even settle for Cortland Sutton. Man, I'm going to have trouble not being excited about this season.
Yeah.
I'm going to have trouble not being too hyped.
Right.
Because Cam Sutton is the perfect, Detroit tried to use him as an outside corner. It didn't go well. The Steelers kind of hit him out there last year and got away with it. He's not an outside corner. He's a slot corner. He's a very good slot.
Always been good in the slot.
Yeah.
Always.
The other stuff, I don't get it. Like, I really literally thought when I saw that tweet is they must be, counseling him, trying to help the guy out, trying to focus him to get his life together, not to sign him. That was the last thing in my mind. And it kept coming up like, Tomlin and Khan have talked to him like, wait, they're trying to sign this guy? What? Yeah. So it hasn't happened yet. And, usually the Steelers are very, averse to signing these guys with this kind of background. I don't know. I guess it could happen. I'm in shock about it, to be honest with you. You're right. They lowered it from a felony to a misdemeanor. So he's probably not going to do any time.
Which is huge, by the way. Felony to back down to a misdemeanor is huge. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Like,
I don't know what to think either.
When you hear
that this guy was done.
Yeah, when you hear that he basically attempted murder, I don't know. When these things happen, you don't know how much of it is exaggerated.
Yeah, there's two sides to every story, and you can't jump to conclusions.
But
when you're on the run too, that makes you look more guilty. I don't know.
What's Richard? I was never a Sutton fan. Bye. He went to Detroit and they released him. Come on.
They released him.
Bro, they released him because of the thing that happened. They didn't release him because of that. Don't get me wrong, he had a bad season, but they didn't release him. Right, but they didn't release him because of his
No,
play.
yeah, they released him because this thing happened. They didn't want to deal with it, which you can't blame them.
But I get it, Richard. I get it, but like at the same time, when he plays slot, he's really good as a slot corner. He just is.
NSMC says if the stories are true, only uniform I want to see him in is a jumpsuit. I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah. No,
but they've already reduced charges, so it's got to make you wonder
what happened. Like, is this exaggerated? Or I don't even want to defend the guy. Like, I get it.
No, nobody wants to defend somebody like this. If it's true, but is it true? Is the question now?
Yep. And I guess that's what maybe we'll find out. Because the Steelers can't be that stupid, can they?
They don't. They usually stay away from guys like this,
right? Like I would. Yeah. I mean, well, sometimes James Harrison was definitely one guy they let go. They let that stuff go with because he had his issues too, and they were just like, oh, James is, he's a Christian and he's, going to church and trying to turn it around or whatever. You're like, yeah, that's the reason why. Sure. But
talent helps. Talent helps.
Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, so
I'm glad you brought that up because I almost forgot to bring it up. It's wild.
It's wild. It is,
and it makes you wonder. I don't want to go like tinfoil hat on us here, but the Steelers seem to be all in on 2024. Is this win a Super Bowl and watch Mike Tomlin right off in the sunset? Is this where this is headed?
No. It's just AR2 said. AR2 said, "Fuck this, I'm done."
That's the other thing. They're desperate to win.
Take my money and do whatever the fuck you gotta do.
There is that other thing where they're just desperate to win a playoff game and they're gonna do anything they can to do it.
Yep.
Which this is the mode they should be in all the time, right? Why does it take 10 years of losing playoff games to get to this point?
I don't know. I agree.
All right, we'll see. You got anything else? I think we covered this pretty good. We're already over
I just needed we're gonna announce the Draft Bash winner.
Oh geez, I almost forgot. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the Draft Bash winner is gonna be Colin. Twitter handle is Philsberg. He was the highest scoring. He had the highest scoring score sheet. He rightfully predicted that Zach Frazier would be round 2. He rightfully predicted that Mason McCormick in round 4 would be picked. He generated 3. He generated 3 different multipliers. He hit on several positions in general, saying that they would be picked, and hit on a lot of rounds, the right rounds too. So really good. The most drafted position was wide receiver, by the way. Dave, you nailed Michigan. Michigan did have the most players drafted.
I was wondering today if that was the case. Yeah.
They had 13 players drafted.
We both had wide receiver too, right?
We did.
Yeah, we both.
Yeah, we got that. But he had corner. Colin had corner. He had Georgia as the college, but then he nailed top 3 players selected: Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. And then Mr. Irrelevance. Mr. Irrelevant ended up being Jalen Key, safety out of Alabama. You and I had quarterbacks.
Yeah, we both had quarterbacks.
He had wide receiver, but I mean, as far as the Steelers stuff goes, he really nailed it, and he's the winner. So congratulations to Colin.
Congratulations,
Colin. If you're listening, go direct with Dave on Dave's Steelers Sanctuary account. Dave, you'll go about that with him on how getting him the Steelers
gift card,
Steelers.com gift card and a Steelers Sanctuary t-shirt.
Yep. Thanks for everybody who played, and I guess that's all we got, right?
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. You can follow me on X at SteelersSanct16. Email the show at daver@SteelersSanctuary.com. Subscribe to the podcast, guys. It helps us out tremendously. Spread the word. Dave, give me your stuff. Let's get out of here.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter at DMC3SSP. You can find me on TikTok at Steelers Sanctuary Podcast or at Still Sank Pod. And then you can find me on, you can go to my sportsbook site at signupexpert.com/nothingness if you guys like doing sportsbooks.
All right. Until next time, thanks for listening to Steelers Sanctuary Podcast.